Me? Jackie.
There is an infectious, joyous energy that hits you the second you fire up Jackie Chan's Stuntmaster. It's 2000 and Jackie is at his absolute zenith of his global powers. Rumble in the Bronx had already smashed the doors down, and Rush Hour had turned him into a household name in the West. He was everywhere, even in my Saturday morning cartoons. So when I saw that signature grin on a PlayStation Jewel case, it felt like the ultimate crossover. It wasn't just another licensed game, it felt like Jackie was personally inviting us all into his world of choreographed chaos. The setup is classic Jackie. Your grandfather has been kidnapped by a gang in New York City, and you have to fight your way through 5 boroughs to get him back. But the hook isn't the story, it's the way it feels to move. This isn't a stiff military brawler like Fighting Force. It's a playable cartoon to the frantic high-pitched wah he lets out during a kick. Radical Entertainment captured the soul of his movies. As a kid, I remember being obsessed with the sheer cool factor of playing as my favourite movie star. This was before every actor had a digital double. Seeing Jackie's likeness on the PS1 was a huge deal. The game drops you into Chinatown, and immediately you're not just hitting buttons, you're performing, you're running up walls, backflipping over thugs, and turning the environment into a weapon. It's a specific brand of slapstick violence that makes you laugh even when you're struggling to stay alive. But there's a dry irony in that fun facade. Underneath the bright colours and the catchy, bouncy soundtrack, Stuntmaster is a surprisingly unforgiving beast. I vividly remember playing this as a kid and having a blast for the first few levels, only to hit a brick wall of difficulty that I just couldn't climb. It's a game that lures you in with a smile and then asks for the precision of a professional gymnast. It's charming, it's vibrant, it's pure Jackie, but it's also got some broken bones waiting for you if you get too cocky. It's the perfect palate cleanser after the heavy industrial dread of Dino Crisis 2. We've traded the extinction point for a dragon mask and a T-Rex for a guy with a giant fish. It's time to see if a 36-year-old me can finally finish the job that a 10-year-old me started.
Look at me. I never done this before. I want to try, see what happened. And also, you know, the game and the computer, you never get old. Then I can see myself on the computer for long, just stay on my age. I can get old, but the computer never get old. So I think I better keep my movement. Maybe something I can move today, cannot move 10 years later. Then keep my movement, keep my acting, keep my humor, everything put in the computer. Then one day, just like a memory. It's a game, can show to the audience, and can give the kids to play, and also can keep the memory for myself.
Welcome to the PSX Index. I'm Parasine, and this is the long-term project where I play and document all 1,278 North American games released on the PlayStation 1. One of the reasons Stuntmaster feels so distinct from other licensed games of the era is the sheer level of involvement from the man himself. In 1999, while Radical Entertainment was building the game, they didn't just send Jackie a check and a few screenshots. They put him in a skin-tight suit, covered in sensors, and asked him to do what he does best. This was the era when motion capture was the black magic of game development. For a PS1 beat-em-up to feature full mocap performed by an actual star was unheard of. Jackie didn't just provide the data for the basic punch or kick. He performed his signature goofy run, his idiocentric idle animations, and those fluid, stumbling transitions that make his fighting style look like a choreographed accident. When you see Jackie in the game shifting his weight or looking around frantically, you aren't seeing a programmer's best guess. You're seeing the actual muscle memory of a martial arts legend. I remember watching the making of videos that you unlock at the end of the game, and the contrast is hilarious. You see Jackie in a high-tech studio jumping over real-world crates and performing backflips for the cameras, and then it cuts to the blocky 32-bit character doing exactly the same thing. It was a bridge between Hollywood and our living rooms. As a kid, knowing that real Jackie was behind the movement made every successful combo feel like a personal achievement. It wasn't just a character, it was a digital avatar of his spirit. And then there's the voice. Unlike Jackie Chan's Adventures cartoon, where he was famously voiced by James C., Jackie actually stepped into the booth for Stuntmaster. Every "hey, come back here" and every pains grunt when you fall off a ledge is the real deal. There's a dry charm to the voice clips, especially when he starts shouting about ambulances or telling enemies to give it up. It adds a layer of authenticity that keeps the game from feeling like a cheap cash-in. Midway and Radical Entertainment clearly respected the brand. They consulted Jackie at every stage, ensuring that the slapstick wasn't just a visual choice, but a mechanical one. This wasn't just about winning a fight, it was about the performance of the fight. He reportedly even steered the development towards that environmental combat we all love. It's a rare example of a celebrity tie-in where the celebrity actually cared about the final product, and it's that passion that makes the game stay in our heart long after you've turned off the console.
Let's sit down and discuss this, like gentlemen. Somebody call the cops!
If you look at the cover art, you'd be forgiven for thinking Stuntmaster is just another 3D fighter like Tekken or a straightforward brawler like Fighting Force. But the moment you actually take control of Jackie, you realise the game is having a bit of an identity crisis in the best way possible. It's a strange hybrid mutation, half 2.5D platformer and half 3D beat 'em up. It's as if Crash Bandicoot and Final Fight had a baby in the middle of a New York City back alley. Most of your time is spent moving from left to right, navigating rooftops, docks and sewers. The game uses a 3D engine, but it often constrains your movements to a belt-scrolling path. You're jumping over gaps, dodging steam vents and timing your leaps onto moving platforms. It captures that frantic escape energy from the movies like Police Story or Rumble in the Bronx. You aren't just looking for a fight, the world itself is trying to kill you. That platforming focus is what gives the game its unique rhythm, but it's also the source of that dry, mountain frustration I felt as a kid. Then the camera locks, the music shifts, and three thugs walk onto the screen. Suddenly, you're in a 3D brawler. You have a dedicated punch, kick and grab button, but the depth comes from how you chain them together. It's not about mashing, it's about timing. There are juggle combos that launch enemies into the air and dive roll attacks that let you close the distance with a somersault. It's chewy combat, satisfying and impactful, with sound effects that have the perfect late 90s thwack. I find the transition between these two modes fascinating. 1 minute, you're performing a pixel-perfect jump onto a floating crate in a waterfront, and the next, you're fending off a group of sailors with a mop. It keeps the game from ever feeling stale. Most brawlers of this era suffer from repetition fatigue, where you're just doing the same 3-hit combo for 4 hours. Stuntmaster avoids this by constantly throwing a new environmental hazard or a performance challenge at you between every skirmish. It's an action platformer in the truest sense of the word. It demands that you master both the agility of the gymnast and the brutality of the Street Fighter. As I'm replaying it for the index, I'm realising that this hybrid nature is exactly why it felt so difficult back then. You can't just be good at the combat, you have to be good at the timing. It's a high wire act where the game is constantly pulling the rug from under you, and honestly, it's exactly the kind of stunt Jackie would appreciate. If you've ever watched the Jackie Chan movie, you know that a broom isn't just for cleaning, and a ladder isn't just for reaching high shelves. The Jackie Chan style is built on the idea that the world is your toy box, and everything in it can be used to humiliate a villain. In Stuntmaster, Radical Entertainment didn't just give you a punch and a kick button, they gave you a grab button that turned you into a domestic menace. The prop system is where the game's dry humour really shines. You pick up stools, crates, pots and pans, but the real stars of the show are the heavy props. In the Chinatown levels, you'll find mops and brooms that give you some much needed reach against the mobs. In the waterfront, you might find yourself swinging a heavy fish or a boat oar. My personal favourite, however, is the ladder. Picking up a ladder and spinning it around Jackie's body like a lethal windmill is the most Jackie thing you can do in the entire 32-bit era. It's glorious, it's chaotic, and it usually breaks after 3 hits, forcing you to scramble for the next object. There's a strategic layer here too. Weapons break, so you have to decide when to spend your prop. Do you use the chair now or clear the 2 punks in front of you, or do you save it for the big guy lurking in the background? In true Jackie fashion, enemies can also pick up these items and use them against you. There's nothing quite as humbling as getting clocked in the head with a saucepan you accidentally dropped. It creates this frantic, scrappy combat where you're constantly scanning the floor for your next advantage. I think this is why the game stays so fresh. Most beat-em-ups are about the perfect combo. Stuntmaster is about the perfect improv. It's the feeling of desperation, running away from a group of goons, spotting a table, flipping it over, creating a barrier, and then smashing a bottle over the head of the first guy who tries to jump over it. It's slapstick violence at its finest. It's also where the motion capture really pays off. Watching Jackie's character model stumble while carrying a heavy box, or the specific way he swings a stick with both hands, adds a layer of weight and personality that standard animations just couldn't replicate. It reminds you that Jackie isn't a superhero, he's just a guy who is really good at using what's available. And in the world of the PSX Index, where we're usually dealing with high-tech laser rifles or magic swords, there's something deeply satisfying about winning a fight with nothing but a mop and a dream. As a kid, this is where the honeymoon period ended. You'd be breezing through the first few Chinatown stages, laughing at the goofy voices and enjoying the mop swinging, and then you'd hit the sewers or the roofs. Suddenly, Stuntmaster stops being a breezy scroll through an action movie and turns into a grueling test of patience that would make a Dark Souls player sweat. I remember getting to a certain point and just feeling stuck. At 10 years old, my coordination simply wasn't ready for the broken bones level of difficulty this game eventually demands. The main culprit is the platforming. Because the game uses a 3D engine but often locks you into a side-scrolling perspective, your depth perception is constantly under fire. You'll try to jump onto those floating platforms in the waterfront, only to realise you were a fraction off by an inch too far in the background. You don't just take damage, you plummet into the abyss. And in Stuntmaster, falling is a one-way ticket to a lost life. There's no safety nets here. If you miss a ledge in the sewers because the camera shifted at the wrong second, it's back to the checkpoint for you. Then there's the enemies. The AI in this game doesn't believe in fair play. Folks will crowd you, hitting you from both sides, locking you into animations where you're just a human punching bag. There's a specific kind of dry frustration that sets in when you're trying to climb a ladder and the guy at the top just keeps kicking you off before you can reach the ledge. It's slapstick when Jackie does it in the movies, but when it's happening to you on a Saturday afternoon and you're just on your last continue, it feels like a personal vendetta from the developers. I can see that the difficulty stems from the late era PS1 philosophy. The game is relatively short, you can beat it in 2 hours if you're a god, so they had to make it sticky. They made the platforming tight and the combat punishing to make sure you couldn't just steamroll it in a single rental. It's a design choice that results in some truly controller gripping moments. You have to learn the patterns, respect the gaps, and realise that Jackie is only as invincible as your thumb to eye coordination allows. I think this is why I never finished it back then. I'd reach the rooftop levels, miss a jump between 2 ventilation shafts for the 5th time, and decide that maybe I'd just go back to Resident Evil, where the enemies at least had the decency to move slowly. Replaying it now, I'm finding that the challenge is still there, but I have a lot more respect for it. It's a stunt for a reason. You have to earn the ending, and Jackie certainly isn't going to give you it for free.
I smell high karate.
The heat, the swing and the sway, I got all the moves. I'm a #1 fighting fool. You know I am so cool. Jackie, let's boogie.
Get down. You have to learn how to relax.
If the broken bones platforming wasn't enough to keep you on the edge, Stuntmaster introduces a collectible hunt that transforms the game into a completionist nightmare. Throughout every level, there are 10 red dragon heads tucked away in the most inconvenient places imaginable. Some are sitting in plain sight, practically begging you to grab them, while others are hidden inside breakable crates, tucked behind the foreground objects, or most crucially, placed on crumbling ledges that require a leap of faith. The logic is simple. Collect all 10 red dragons in a level and you're rewarded with a gold dragon. Collect all 20 gold dragons across the entire game and you unlock the holy grail for a Jackie Chan fan, the secret Shaolin temple level. This isn't just a bonus room, it's a full-fledged gauntlet where you fight monks and eventually unlock Jackie's legendary drunken master outfit. As a kid, this system was the ultimate carrot on a very long, very dangerous stick. I remember the frustration of finishing a level with 9 out of 10 dragons. You'd look at that tally and realise you've missed one tiny red pixel somewhere at the back of the sewers. And the only way to get the gold dragon was to restart the entire level and do those death-defying jumps all over again. It's a gotta catch 'em all mentality that adds a surprising amount of depth to what would have been a shallow brawler. It forces you to play detective, smashing every barrel and exploring every dark corner instead of just rushing to the exit. We didn't have YouTube walkthroughs in our pockets back then. If you couldn't find the 10th dragon, you were stuck roaming the level, checking the same alleyways over and over while the music looped indefinitely. It turned the game into a scavenger hunt. Replaying it now, I realised that these dragons were the developers' way of making sure we saw every inch of the beautiful pre-rendered art and the intricate level design they'd worked so hard on. But my god, some of those placements are mean. There's one in the rooftop levels that requires you to jump off a moving elevator at the exact microseconds, and if you miss it, you're looking at a loading screen. It's that high stakes stunt mentality again. Jackie doesn't just want you to beat the bad guys, it wants you to do it while finding every hidden treasure on the set. It's exhausting, it's rewarding, and it's the only way to prove you're a true stuntmaster.
Grandfather!
Ah, the courier boy. We finally meet.
While the motion capture gave us the body of Jackie Chan, the order is what truly gave the game its soul. Unlike many licensed games of that era, it relied on generic sound-alikes. Stuntmaster features the actual unmistakable voice of the man himself, and let's be honest, Jackie's voice is 50% of his charm. It's that blend of earnestness, frantic energy, and slightly broken English that makes him feel like an untouchable action god and more like a talented neighbour who is having a really bad day. The dry humour of the game's sound design is peak late 90s. Every punch is met with a wet thud or a crack that sounds like it came straight out of a Hong Kong Foley studio. But the highlight is Jackie's constant commentary. If you leave the controller alone for a few seconds, he doesn't just stand there, he starts slightly singing to himself and doing a little stretch. If you take a big hit, he might shout, "I need a chiropractor," or "a pain, somebody better call an ambulance." It turned the health bar into something more than a mechanic. It makes you feel like you're genuinely ruining Jackie's weekend. And then there's the battle cries. Jackie's signature "Gwah" whenever he's surprised or mid-air is a sound that lived rent-free in my head through the year 2000. It's a sound of pure panic and effort combined. It perfectly matches the gameplay. You aren't a silent brooding warrior. You're a delivery boy who is shouting his way through a crisis. Even the enemies have their own repetitive and occasionally grating lines, but they serve as the perfect straight men to Jackie's vocal gymnastics. For those of us dedicated enough to hunt down those gold dragons, the audio reward is the ultimate fan service. When you finally unlock the Shaolin temple and put on the drunken master outfit, the style shift is more than just visual. Jackie's movements become fluid and swaying. The sounds of him sipping through the guard and letting out those relaxed tipsy grunts bring the whole Drunken Master 2 vibe to life. It's a testament of how much Jackie loved this project. He didn't just phone in the lines, he gave us the full range of his cinematic personality. Sitting here with my headphones on, listening to 32-bit Jackie scream as he falls off a rooftop, In the factory level, I'm struck by how much life it adds to the pixels. Without that voice, Stuntmaster would just be a competent, a bit difficult brawler. With it, it's a time capsule of why we all fell in love with him in the first place. He's the hero who isn't afraid to sound a little bit ridiculous while he's saving the day.
You hold on to it, grandson.
See, grandfather, I told you not to worry.
Yes, Jackie, I know. I trusted you all along. Now, let's go home.
I'm hungry. How about something to eat?
What's the matter with you? You got a tapeworm or something? If you don't come eating on that, you're gonna pop up like a puffer fish.
As the credits roll and Jackie gives us the last thumbs up of the production floor, index entry 49 comes to a close. Jackie Chan Stuntmaster is a fascinating relic of a specific moment in time, the transition point where Hollywood and gaming truly began to fuse. It's a game that could have easily been a forgettable budget title, but because Jackie himself leans into it, we ended up with a cult classic that has more personality in its digital pinky than most modern blockbusters. It's a game that perfectly encapsulates the fun over friction philosophy we discussed earlier. Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, the platform will make you want to throw your controller into the nearest sewer, but the charm is so thick that you can't help but come back for one more take. It's a love letter to the man's career, wrapped in a 32-bit package that still manages to make me smile 26 years later. Whether you're swinging a mop in Chinatown or backflipping off a New York rooftop, the game never lets you forget that you're playing as a legend. But don't get too comfortable. With the slapstick and the smiles, the index is about to take a dark, suffocating turn. We're moving from the bright streets of New York into the cold, industrial corridors of deep space. We're trading Stuntmaster for the perfect organism. Next time, it's a double feature in cinematic terror. We're looking at the two pillars of the Alien franchise on the PS1. One is a high-speed Doom clone that defined atmospheric shooters in 1996, and the other is a 2000 survival horror masterpiece that accidentally invented the modern console FPS control scheme. Get your motion trackers ready and keep your back to the wall. Next episode, it's Alien Trilogy and Alien Resurrection. 49 games down, 1,229 games to go, and I like to keep the shotgun for the close encounters.
I play games because the game really gives me a lot of idea and I keep my mind to keep working. But now the game's more difficult now. It's not like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's simple, 2 buttons. But now too many buttons, you just, keeps you very busy.